Let's get more now from Gene Epstein. He is the director of the Soho Forum. He joins me now live from New York. Thanks so much for being with us. Gene, trillionaires, are they or will they be the Rockefellers and Carnegies of our time?
Well, I have a lot of things to say that I guess will shock you. My brief answer is, I hope so. And the reason I hope so, especially in the case of Jeff Bezos, is that he came out of nowhere. Basically his parents were just middle class. He actually had a stepfather. He took the name Bezos from his stepfather. And he started a business that has benefited many hundreds of millions of people, including myself. He's made his fortune. By the way, it isn't money. It's just basically ownership of stock. It's not money that's sitting in his mattress, but he's made his fortune by cutting prices, providing more goods and services for people of limited means, and that's where he's made his money.
Right, but he's also got a company that's cutting back on overtime pay, you know, for middle-class people.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, he cut it back. He pays $15 an hour, which is the living wage. Look, I'm sure he's not been perfect in terms of employment. Absolutely, he's not been perfect. He's had a lot of failed businesses, but he does provide jobs that people want.
Okay, George.
He does provide jobs for people of limited means. Now, but the point is that again, he's got blemishes. But the idea that merely bringing worth $1 trillion is a problem, which I don't think is necessarily going to happen, is just a joke. The numbers you threw out was a joke.
Okay, this is what's not a joke, though. I mean, it's not about the individual. I'm not really just talking about Jeff Bezos. I'm talking about such an absurd amount of wealth being in the hands of so few people, and it doesn't trickle down. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. I mean, the numbers you threw out are ridiculous. We're not measuring GDP. Do you know what the wealth of the world is right now? $317 trillion right now.
Okay.
Bezos owns that. Okay, so out of proportion. Well, first of all, Bill Gates is not going to increase his assets in any significant way. He doesn't run a business anymore. He runs a philanthropy. And he's helped wipe out malaria in the world. Bill Gates is somebody else. Unlikely that Zuckerberg is going to do very well.
That's fine. Here's my point. They can still do that. They don't need trillions of dollars to do the kind of philanthropy they do. But let me give you an example. Why is it the countries, the wealthiest countries with the highest standard of living in the world, they really have no billionaires to speak of? Because they know it doesn't serve the greater good. It doesn't serve the best interest of the people in raising the standard of living for everyone in wealthy democracies by having so much money in the hands of just a few people.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Obviously, one of the wealthiest countries in the world include the United Kingdom.
With the highest standards of living, though. We're talking, you know, the social democracies of Europe, Scandinavia, Germany, for example. It's logical to them that when you have such an absurd amount of money that can never be spent by one person, you have to pay higher taxes that are therefore distributed to people that will be able to spend money on the middle class and on the lower middle class.
If I'm trying to follow you correctly, you're citing Germany, you're citing a couple of countries, and now you're talking about higher taxes. If your point, my only bottom line point is that Bezos, in particular, is somebody who plays the game according to the free market, and he only makes money. And by the way, the profits of Amazon have been ridiculously low, as you perhaps know. He's got stock. That's not money, but he's got stock. And that stock is going to collapse in value if he doesn't continue to serve the consumer with exceedingly low prices. He has greatly enriched the world through his efforts, including people in Germany, including people in China, all of those people who to some degree have copied his business and also buy from him. And especially during this pandemic, the most absurd thing is that, again, these businesses, especially Bezos, they've been delivering goods and services to us at a time when we've had lockdowns. So they ought to get a medal for it.
Okay.
They are not
But it's just interesting that their employees would go on strike. I just have to raise the issue with you because you seemed confused when I said a country like Germany won't allow for people to have that much money at the top because they will they'll claim higher taxes. Because that's what Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world himself, said. I should be paying more in taxes. It is silly for me to have this much money, to be making this much profit. It needs to be spent where the entire economy can be improved.
Okay, again, recognize that. Warren Buffett, by the way, is the toady to the politicians. But aside from that, if all you are saying is that Warren Buffett, with $80 billion, should pay more in taxes, he'll be worth $75 billion. If all you're saying is that these people should pay more in taxes, that's a very different argument from saying that their money is ill-gotten or that they didn't make their money by serving the consumer and greatly enriching people in Germany who unhesitatingly buy from Amazon.
Okay, Gene Epstein.
Get enriched by Amazon.
We're going to have to leave it.
So all you're saying, we'll have to leave it that they should pay more in taxes. Fine, that's a completely separate issue from the argument you're making. Just one correction on the number. The wealth of the world is now in excess of $300 trillion. These people own a very, very tiny share of that. So don't have too many sleepless nights over this trend.
Okay, Gene, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us from New York. We appreciate it.